Hey, what's up, Trails Collective? This is Ian here for the weekly rundown for September 2nd, 2020. So this past week, let's get into some results. The Baker Trail Ultra Challenge in Brookville, PA went down. Plug a photo here from Sarah Wilson in the background. A good reflection of just how beautiful the trail is. And I think just looking at this reminds me of one of the prime, motivations for launching the Trails Collective, and that is to give some exposure to events, individuals, opportunities, places that are outside of maybe our immediate bubbles, and to really be able to showcase just how many beautiful places there are out there. I'm assuming this is one as an event that wouldn't necessarily pop up on maybe a larger media radar, except by chance. And it's one that really looks beautiful. So it's my hope to be able to showcase and plug some of the smaller events that we can maybe be motivated to go check out, support, visit at some point, promote, and really just see how interconnected our community is. It indicates a photo here from Sarah Wilson for the event. Another photo from Mike McNeil, which I'll plug. Actually, I'll just go full screen. A good shot of your trail porn for the day. One of the women's overall winner, Kathleen Cusick, in 9:21. And check out the sheer definition of that beautiful rectus femoris, vastus lateralis, and medialis. That is solid. The win overall went to Brenner Burkholder in 7:29 for the 50.2 mile course. Not slow. In the virtual race to the top of Vermont, that went down as the biggest fundraiser to benefit the Catamount Trail Association. And they have a virtual component as well. It was run between August 29th and 30th, and I haven't caught results there yet. Another one that went down in Burke Lake Park, Virginia, is the Burke Lake 5K 10K. And it benefits the Arc of Northern Virginia, put on by Bishop's Events. And the 5K wins went to David Brungard and Juliana Perry. And the 10Ks to Alexis Espinoza and Jessica Cannoli. So great job. Let's see what else, or what's shaking. On the Pain Cave, actually launching today as I'm filming, August 31st, is Dr. and Coach Jay Friedman, shoots 20 questions by our own Ellie Pell. So some of you have been catching Ellie in the first maybe month or so of the weekly rundowns until COVID really set in and we became a little bit more physically distant. And you've also been catching her in the TC interviews. She's pretty slammed at work these next few weeks as students are coming back here in Ithaca, and she's just trying to get through some interviews she's already done. So I'm not sure what's on deck this week, but look out for it. But Jay Friedman had her for the latest edition for the Pain Cave, and with the 20 questions. And just to quote Jay on the site to introduce this week's podcast, if you're not familiar with Ellie, maybe you should be. Despite her youth, she's had a bevy of top flight performances on both the road and trail, including a podium finish at JFK and the top 15 at the North Face Championships in California. And she ran in the Olympic Marathon Trials in Atlanta this past February. Find out how she approaches training, her go-to post-race meal, which Olympic sport she wishes she could compete in, and much more. So check it out at the Pain Cave, and we'll plug the link. On the social media and web world, on MassUltra, for MassUltra, I've plugged it several of the weeks, and really because they do a great job with just articles. They'll cover some of the events that are shaking in Massachusetts, events that are happening, some that maybe aren't happening from COVID, but just does great short biopic or event articles. This past week is a great article entitled Hike Across Massachusetts, aims to give visibility to marginalized trans, queer, and intersex communities on a 175-mile, 10-day effort by Su Mittra. Great article. I'll plug the link here. Definitely give it a look or a read. So thanks, MassUltra. On the VHTRC, Virginia Happy Trails Running Club boards, we had reported a few weeks ago, one that I pulled out of one of the threads on the Duke study that looked into the benefit of or impact of using neck gaiters for transmission of particles or spread of COVID. And basically the one that said that neck gaiters can actually make it worse by breaking up the particles into smaller particles and maybe making it last in the air longer. Well, no doubt, or as expected, that got some kickback in the social and scientific community. So there was one that I just picked up to link. It was a New York Times article. It's called, actually, where was Save the Gators. There it is. And I'll plug the link here. But basically, takeaway, while gators aren't medical grade, they still do a decent job of reducing particulates. That a 2-layer or doubled over format paired with a tight fit is the way to go. And so gator on. And for all you Patreon supporters, we did get the Trails Collective neck gaiters here. And I think when they came in, I got a little bit hesitant to say, man, here I am sending it out in COVID, and here is this study that's saying they didn't do good, or I'm going to make it worse. But lo and behold, help is on the way. So for all, again, you supporters, or those who might be interested in nabbing a gator from the Trails Collective, they are here, and they are pretty slick. So get one or check it out. On the Trail Sisters post, one on a really great article by Ohio runner and RD for Empower Ultras, Aneta or Nettie Zeppettella, titled First Known Time. It will give you a taste of, actually I'll give you a taste of it in reading her closing, but really encourage you to take a minute and read Nettie's full article. It's great. There are many trails out there that do not have female FKTs set. Look them up, go out, explore. Don't feel that you are not fast enough, that they are only for elite level runners. Be brave to be first. Don't downplay your abilities. If you ever win a race, age group, place on the podium, please do not say it was because the field was not deep or others had a bad day. You do what you do because it's what is within you. And maybe because you have a trail sister like I do who will support all of your crazy adventures. So to all the trail sisters out there, run on. It's pretty awesome. And for all of you out there, check out the First Known Time article that we'll link here. So on those FKTs, first or fastest known time boards, a big one this past week was it's actually an Oregon runner, but mentioning it here because it's the beast and the icon of the East, the 2,189-mile Appalachian Trail, running from Georgia to Maine or vice versa. And Liz Mercury Anjos, I probably didn't pronounce your last name right, I apologize, started on July 7th and headed northbound in supported fashion and finished in 51 days, 16 hours, and 30 minutes. The second fastest woman in history behind Jennifer Farr Davis, who picked it off in the southbound fashion. So pretty incredible. Liz, great job. That's awesome. In Connecticut, Dan Bates, 57 minutes, 36 seconds for the Iron Trail. In Massachusetts, Justin Kousky keeps his FKTs of 2020 rolling. This has to be maybe 20 or 21 for him on the year. 3 hours, 2 minutes for the Cape Cod Rail Trail. In Maine, Tess Hamilton, 5 hours, 4 minutes for the women's one-way unsupported mark for the gnarly Bigelow Range, which we mentioned last week as well, Bigelow Range Traverse, shaving 27 minutes off of Kendra Gilbert's time from 2019. Nice work, Tess. In Maryland, this one was pretty awesome. Eric Thornton, the full-on Beast Coast Trans-Maryland route. This hard-fought victory shaved a mere 6 seconds off of the prior mark set from Evan Daney in January 2017. A bold move from Evan going after the trans route in January. I do believe this may be contested, however, as the new mark with Eric's Strava segment came up roughly 0.1 miles shorter than Evan's. No doubt there's going to be some conflict there. Sufficiently shorter enough to account for the difference. Claimed to be slightly uphill, a claim that is no doubt an understatement, for at 168 feet of gain for the trans crossing, you're grinding every last juice of muscle memory to get over that last summit in this Maryland crossing. Total FKT time, 17 minutes, 6 seconds. What? That's right, because this beastly 2.7 mile crossing comes at a northern tip, so it's pretty slim. Which route was more accurate, the 2.75 versus 2.65? Who's truly king of the Trans-Maryland route? To be determined. Some say these two fine athletic powerhouses may be convinced to go at it one more time in a head-to-head no-hold-barred format. Look for it in 2021. In New Hampshire, Jesse Wall, 10 hours, 7 minutes for the AMC 3 Huts Loop. At over 130 years old, this is the oldest mountain hut network in the U.S. Looks pretty incredible. I've not been there myself. Another one which looks and just sounds beautiful. The route gains 11,000 feet over 26 miles and covers the summits of Wildcat A and D, Gulf Peak, Mount Washington, Clay, Jefferson, Adams, and Madison. So that looks awesome. Another good destination for any of you who need some inspiration and want to get up into the mountains. Let's see, Grace Long, 30-mile loop, which gains 4,250 feet, 10 hours and 31 minutes for the Lake Sunapee circumnavigation, a baseline unsupported female mark. In New Jersey, Lauren Longfeld, 2 hours 4 minutes for the Stonetown Circular, a 9.99-mile technical beast of a loop, with 2,500 feet of gain for a baseline female supported mark. In New York, Nick Arndt. Nick, I'm not sure whether we've connected prior, but Nick and I at least met when we were supporting Sarah Kai's just a couple weeks back as she went after the Adirondack 46. Had transitioned off to Nick as pacers and mules, and we both had pretty burly days for us peons out there. So Nick reclaimed his title for the men's unsupported out and back of Hurricane Mountain up there in the Adirondacks, gaining 1,900 feet in 2.8 miles before dropping back down. He shaved 42 seconds off of one of my teammates, Steve Lang's time from June of this year to reclaim the FKT that he had prior on Hurricane Mountain in 59 minutes and 58 seconds. Nice work, Nick. David Kilgore, a 30-mile Manhattan loop, circling the island and setting a baseline men's self-supported time of 3 hours, 43 minutes. Not so shabby, Mr. Kilgore. Not so shabby at all, sir. William Wells and Kirsty Conforton, 3 hours, 53 minutes to take the Catskill Scenic Trail, shaving off 46 minutes from the prior mixed gender team unsupported mark. Elise Mordos and John Brzezinski and Tricia Ignanowski, 11 hours, 24 minutes for the Lake George 12ster, a baseline for a mixed gender team. Davin Oskvig has picked up 2 this year, I think in just the past week or two. 3 hours, 47 minutes for the Finger Lakes Trail Letchworth branch, and another one he nabbed in PA. 5:30 for the 33.3 mile with 5,300 feet of elevation gain in the Girard Hiking Trail in Oil Creek, an area that he's covered probably multiple times in running some pretty fast times and wins on the Oil Creek 100 course. Also in PA, AJ Palmer, 4 hours, 14 minutes for the Northwest Lancaster County River Trail. In Virginia, Kennedy Hall establishes a female baseline for 2 loops on the paved Arlington Loop in D.C. area in 5 hours, 12 minutes. And in Vermont, Laura Tuttle, 5 hours, 19 minutes for the Glastonbury West Ridge Loop. So great job, all you FKTers out there. And I'm always plugging the fastest, where I'm pulling the data and plugging their images in the background is from fastestknowntimes.com. A great website that's tracking all of this. And I am catching on some friends or friends of friends social media posts, other FKTs that they're setting along the way. Some of them I just miss. Some of the ones that maybe are posted on Tuesdays or Wednesdays when I'm editing this and uploading it, I miss. And then some just opt not to post to the fastest known time. So that's definitely out there, but this is how I'm catching them and where I'm pulling them from. So nice work, everybody out there. Let's see, in the weeks ahead. So this week, Tuesday, September 1st, Connecticut Ultra and runner Shan Riggs will be taking off from California en route to Connecticut to raise awareness for food security and just for the adventure of a lifetime for him. I made it across. Looks like a little bit of work needed on the Sprinter van in crossing, and they stopped by the headquarters of GU Energy yesterday, got loaded up with some supplies, and should be taking off from the San Francisco area Tuesday. So we'll follow along and plug him as he goes. And the New Jersey Trail Conference, an entity that's responsible for creating, maintaining, continually improving hundreds of miles of trails in the New York, New Jersey area, many of which we take advantage of on a daily basis, and many of us for our events. Also just launched an event titled Trailathon. It's 100 miles for 100 years. A hike, run, walk, help raise money and awareness for this very critical entity in our region for the trails. Thankfully, had a good and open relationship with the conference, and I'm hoping they're going to weigh in as a voice from the collective here to round out the episode and who we'll close out with this evening. So stay tuned for that. We'll let them introduce the entity and introduce you to the event, and for sure, give it a look. see if you can help spread the word, raise awareness, and if not, make a contribution on your own. So look out for that here in just a minute. September 3rd, virtual 5K trail run for Thorncroft in Malvern, PA. Registration will link at Run Sign Up. On September 5th, there's a last man standing event in New Gloucester, Maine. Registration is closed out. Hopefully they got a pretty good field and they're pretty excited. There's the Dandelion Trail Run in Mifflinburg, PA, a 5 and 10 mile run in memory of the late Reverend Glenn Heasley. And I think registration is still open on Run Sign Up. There's the Black Bear Half Marathon in Waterville Valley, New Hampshire. Again, we've plugged it in the past, but a really beautiful location in New Hampshire. 1 mile, 5 mile, and a half marathon. Open 100 participants in each event. And registration closes out this Thursday, September 3rd, so get on it. The Salt Springs Field and Forest and Falls Trail Race in Montrose, PA, 5 and 10 mile. Also another really wonderful entity, beautiful trail, some waterfalls, some single tracks, some lush forest. This area used to be a state park in northern PA. I believe it is still a state park, but doesn't receive state funding, so they could for sure use your entries. Check it out, and we'll plug the link. Registration at Run Sign Up. September 12th, as we mentioned last week, a really solid day on the trail calendar. A few really fun and inspiring options. 2 of my events, the Water Gap Trail Runs in Milford, PA, a 25K, 50K. A friend, Vinny Capadora, maybe his wife Nicole, will be helping out to run it or put it on from their entity, Happily Running, this year, as I'll be hopefully tied up. We're still waiting for final approval on the Breakneck Point Trail Runs in Beacon, New York. That's a half marathon and marathon. For all of you RDs out there, you can relate at the moment to the COVID chaos for events this year, how much time is spent, I guess, responding to individualized emails on a day-to-day basis for people rolling into next year, or seeking a refund, or continuing on, or questions, or it's pretty wild. So that's a good chunk of days. But in any case, Breakneck Point Trail Runs, we still have individuals that are rotating out, choosing to defer, some coming back in. I think we have about 25 slots left open, and I reduced the field size this year. We'll have maybe like 325 is where I'm going to cap it out. And we have quite a bit of COVID considerations and modifications in place, including wave starts. We could still use a good number of volunteers, so if you think you might be up for joining us for that day, it's a pretty cool area to be in and at, and we could for sure use your help. So thank you in advance. The Rock and the Knob Trail Races at Blue Knob in Claysburg, PA, referenced as PA's highest trail race and the most challenging 10K in PA. I forgot to look how many slots. They had 55 spots remaining last week. I didn't check it now, whether it's still open, but a 10K, half marathon, and marathon. Check it out, Rock and the Knob. The Pine Creek Trail Challenge in the beautiful Grand Canyon of PA. It's a rail trail format, so it's flat, but it's beautiful. A good place to go and enter the Pain Cave, or just try to get in your first supported finish down there. They have a marathon, 50 mile, and 100 mile, and registration, I believe, is still open, or actually, closed yesterday, August 30th. Hopefully, again, they got a good field, but that was that Ultra sign up. If you're interested and just missed it, you could probably make an appeal and maybe still get in. A Boulderfield 100 in Jim Thorpe, PA, 18 mile, 50 mile, 100. That is closed out with a wait less full, as we mentioned last week, but a pretty cool course. Cusick Ridge to the River Challenge in Bethel, Maine, 10 mile, half marathon, 26.2 mile. As I mentioned last week, was really on my radar if I didn't have to push back Breakneck Point. Really looks like beautiful courses, and I'm really excited to maybe check it out for next year. But covers nearly the entire ridgeline of Sunday River, and you can check it out at ridge2river.me, and we'll have it in the show notes. Looks like a cool course if you are in that area or want to make a trip. The Odyssey Trail Running Rampage in Duthat State Park, Virginia, 6, 13.1, 26.2, and 40 mile. Also just sounds beautiful, talking about running along creeks with waterfalls and running through rhododendron-covered tunnels engulfing the trail. Sounds really awesome, and a pretty fair course. So check it out, the Odyssey Trail Running Rampage. I believe registration is still, oh no, that was another one. Registration either capped or closed out. But a cool one to keep on your radars for next year. The Tunxus Trail Ultramarathon in Burlington, Connecticut, 8 miles, 30 miles, 60 miles, and benefits the Burlington Land Trust. And the Breaks Ultramarathon 45-mile trail run, another one that I wasn't aware of prior and just learned of it through this process. Looks like a really just beautiful course, run along the Kentucky-Virginia border up over some pretty ruggedly tough terrain. It looks like a really beautiful course. Currently 177 registrants as I filmed last week, so I'm assuming that's a little bit higher. Registration might still be open. Check it out at Ultra Sign Up. The FAAP Fall Classic 5K in Allison Park, PA, 5, 10 mile, 20 mile. And then join me, if I still have energy left after the Breakneck Point Trail runs, on Sunday, September 13th for the Steep Endurances Macedonia Trail Race in Kent, Connecticut. 7.3 mile, 25 mile, 50 mile. I'd love to meet the Connecticut for sure community and any of you out there. So join us at Breakneck if you got it in you, and come join me to enjoy the trails at Macedonia Trail Race in Kent, Connecticut the following day. And then Where the Pavement Ends, a 4.25 mile hybrid virtual event. We will plug it here as well, but another one in Connecticut. So coming at you this week, hopefully on the gear front, hopefully I'll do a review of the Salomon Wildcross, one that I've mentioned I think the past 2 weeks as I got the shoe in. I have about 100 miles in a pair now, and so I feel like enough to review. We'll also post a multi-pack or hydration vest in the women's category, or for the best women's hydration vest, with a multi-reviewer weigh-in from friends Sheena Heiss and Nicole Capadora. They've got several that they've tried in the mix. They'll look at the Raid Light Responsive, one from Ultimate Direction here with the Mountain Vesta, the Ultra Spire Basham, the Salomon Hydro Skin women's set, and then also one that Nicole, I believe, still has from Nathan. So look for that this week. Hopefully it'll be pretty good. So that's what's been shaken in terms of events, some of the things I caught on the media boards. I am still growing with this Trails Collective and weekly rundowns. I would still like to know what's useful for people, but I really would love to hear from all of you out there. I know it's not a huge audience just yet, so for all of you that are tuning in, thank you so much. And give me suggestions if things catch your eye in the media or events that are coming up or open, or if you have individuals that you think will be great to reach out to, for sure, let us know. That's very much appreciated, and that's what'll make it meaningful for me. So thanks for tuning in this week to the weekly rundown. I'm very thankful of any of you who are up for sharing it in your own posts and giving me the feedback. Thanks again to the Patreon supporters who are out there, and we'll continue to grow the Trails Collective. So thanks so much, and I will catch you next week. Thanks. See ya.
Hi Trails Collective, my name is Jennifer Zach. I work for the New York, New Jersey Trail Conference. The Trail Conference is a 501c3 nonprofit that builds, protects, and maintains 2,100 miles of public trails and the lands that they surround. So most likely, if you ventured out on trails in this region, which I'm sure most of you have, they're cared for by one of our 2,000 volunteers who collectively donate over 100,000 hours per year. This year, the Trail Conference is turning 100. Yay! In celebration, we are having a trail-a-thon, 100 miles for 100 years challenge, and we are challenging the Trails Collective community to participate. Registration is open. A link will be provided shortly, and so you can register for free, and the actual challenge will take place between September 14th through October 31st. You can run, hike, walk, bike, whatever you do to get the miles, to tick them off. It's all about raising awareness, all about having fun, and all about connecting with nature. I'd like to give a really big thank you shout out to Ian and the Trails Collective community for generously donating the milestone prizes. So if first female and male to hit 25 miles, 50 miles, 75 miles, and 100 miles will be offered a free pair of shoes courtesy of the Trails Collective. So again, we really hope that you participate in this challenge to raise awareness and celebrate the Trail Conference for their 100th year of service in the community. Thank you. And again, a registration link will be provided. Have a great one. Bye.